Listen, if you know how to hit these 4 psychological triggers, she will drop every rule she ever had. She will chase you, she will crave you, and she won't even know why. Doesn't matter if you're 30 years older than her. Doesn't matter if you've got a dad bod. Even if your bank account is bleeding in the red, it will not matter, because these are the exact triggers that make even the most gorgeous, high status younger women go after men twice their age. And no, this isn't about having money. It's not about looks. It's not even about being the nice guy. You could have a receding hairline. You could have bad knees. Hell, you could look like you just rolled out of bed. But if you press these 4 buttons, you bypass her logic completely. You shut down her resistance like a light switch. Even with the girl who swore, "I'll never date the older guy," she'll be the one blowing up your phone. She will cancel her plans, and she'll be the one asking you to come over to Netflix and chill. And the reason that I know this works is because I've spent the last 2 decades in the trenches. Thousands of conversations, going on hundreds of dates, doing years of field testing. I bled my time, my energy, and my effort to figure out what I can just hand you right now in just 3 minutes. And here's what I've discovered. When these triggers hit a woman in the right sequence, it's game over, guys. She'll look at you like you are the only man on earth. She'll drop everything just to be with you. Now listen carefully. If you stick with me to the end of this video, I'm going to share with you one trigger I almost didn't even share. This one is so powerful, it can flip her entire world upside down all by itself. And I really shouldn't even be sharing this on camera, honestly. So I need your word that you're not going to abuse this. You're only going to use this for good. Now, by the way, my community is blowing up right now. One guy wrote into me, "Hey, Jesse, just 9 weeks in and my life has completely changed. After years of being single, I finally have a girlfriend who is totally hooked on me." And that's the kind of transformation happening right now inside of this group. So if you want me guiding you personally, step by step, to get that beautiful younger girlfriend that you actually want, then after this video is over, go right here to attractionzilla.com. I'll put a link in the description below as well. And you can join me in the community that I built, where you and I can work together one-on-one. And I promise you, you are absolutely going to love it. Now, let me show you where most guys just screw it all up and they don't even realize they're doing it. They butcher their shot with women because they're stuck on what I call the one feeling formula. And what's that formula? It's when a guy thinks that the way to a woman's heart is just to make her feel comfortable. That's it. Just one single emotion, comfort. One lonely flavor, comfort, over and over again. So just tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You're sitting across from a beautiful woman on a date and you are firing off a checklist of questions to ask her. Like you ask her, so what do you do for work? Oh, that's nice. Okay, you're a teacher. So what do you do for fun? Oh, really? Horseback riding. Do you have any pets? And you're making her feel comfortable here. You're making her feel safe. And be honest, isn't this exactly what you're doing on these dates? And what happens after that, gentlemen? She smiles politely. She answers all your questions very politely. And then she never texts you back. The exact same thing goes for compliments. Oh, you look pretty. You look gorgeous. And what does that give her? More comfort. But here's the brutal truth, gentlemen. When you lean so heavily on comfort, you're basically telling her, I'm a harmless guy. I'm non-threatening. I'm not even a viable sexual option. Because you're not giving her the butterflies inside. You are giving her politeness. And politeness just blends into the background like elevator music. Comfort is a lot like elevator music. It's safe, it's bland, and it is forgettable. Now, don't get me wrong. Comfort has its place. It can be nice. But nice doesn't make her fantasize about you. Being nice doesn't have her up texting you at midnight. Nice doesn't have her grabbing you by the shirt and pulling you in for a kiss. Comfort all on its own, it's kind of like cooking with just one ingredient or playing a song with just one note. It is predictable. it is forgettable, and it is dead on arrival. And the moment that she senses that you're being too safe, that you're being too polite, you are done. She's going to tune out and drop you straight into the friend zone, which is why you need to flip the script completely, because she doesn't care about safe and predictable. She craves a full-blown emotional roller coaster, because she doesn't want just one feeling of comfort. She wants a symphony of emotions. And when you hit her with that range through the psychological triggers I'm about to give you, that's when you become unforgettable to her. You become the guy that she cannot stop thinking about. You become the guy that she breaks all of her own rules for. And that's what you really want, right? Not to be ghosted, but be the man that she lies awake thinking about. So look, you've got to kill that one-note strategy of comfort once and for all. No more safe little compliments. No more predictable, polite little questions. Because look, compliments, they're kind of like giving her packets of sugar. They're sweet for a second, but they have zero substance. Instead, you're going to start giving her a range of emotions that's going to explode her attraction for you. And trust me, it's the third trigger here that separates the men that she laughs with from the men that she sleeps with. So let's kick it off with the first trigger, that spark that jolts her nervous system and hooks her attention instantly. Before she obsesses over you, before she's lying in bed replaying every word you said like her favorite movie scene, there's one feeling you have to spark in her first. And that feeling is charged excitement. And no, this isn't just, oh, wow, we like to watch the same TV show. That's not charged excitement. Charged excitement is when sparks are flying through the air. It's that jolt in her body when she says, whoa, who is this guy? It's engagement plus spark plus challenge. Not aligning with her, but interrupting her. Not playing along, but breaking her patterns. And the way that you create charged excitement with that girl, you have to stop playing it safe. No, you need to start pushing her buttons. You break rapport with her on purpose. Like you might challenge her. You know, you strike me as the type of girl with way too many red flags. Or you might tease her. You know, you look like trouble to me. Or you make bold, playful moves on her, like spinning her around, nudging her in the shoulder, testing her for her reactions. Because all of it does one thing. It disrupts her normal script. It hooks her attention. And that's the first trigger you're going for. Because before she can feel aroused for you, before she can get invested with you, before she can get addicted to you, she needs to be socially hooked on you. Think of it as like fishing. The hook is not comfort. The hook isn't, oh, wow, you seem like a really nice guy. The hook is charged excitement. And you'll know you've reached that hook point when her body is fully turned toward you. Her eyes are big and locked right onto yours. She's smiling wide and she's asking you questions. That's when you know that you flipped that switch in her. That's when she's starting to invest in you. And if you know what you're doing, you're going to get there in a minute or two, right? You don't need to stay in charged excitement for very long because once she's hooked, now you've got her attention. And that's when the next triggers kick in. So charged excitement is just like that initial spark that revs up the engine. The rest we're going to cover, that's what gets her addicted to you. So here's what I want you to do right now. If you want me to share with you my go-to real-world lines that instantly create charged excitement in a woman, drop the word spark down in the comments below. Now, once you've lit that fire, it's time to steer it into something deeper, where that initial spark can turn now into a fantasy. So you've got her attention. So the question is, can you turn that initial spark into a full-blown fantasy with her? And this is where the dynamic really starts to shift. Because once you've lit that fire underneath her, it's time to drop into trigger number 2, flirting. Now, don't confuse flirting with teasing or challenging. They're not the same thing. Flirting is where you flip the frame, where it's no longer about her versus you. Now it's about us together. Right? Flirting creates that us together frame. It's a playful, flirty bubble that makes her imagine you and I together. It takes her from thinking, who is this guy I'm talking to what would it be like with this guy? And that's when the possibility of a relationship starts to take root. For example, when you're talking to a woman in a conversation, you might tell her, I like that you work at Starbucks. You know, actually, I'm going to hire you as my personal assistant. You can make me coffee in the mornings, fluff my pillows, cancel my meetings, and I'm going to pay you $2 an hour. Deal? You see, that's playful. But the joke is about the two of you doing something together. Or you might say to her, oh my God, we would be a total disaster together, girl. You'd fall for me and I'd make fun of you nonstop. Again, the tease is about the two of you together as a pair. And when she starts to imagine what it would feel like to be with you, that's when you stop being just another guy making small talk with her. That's when you become the man that she can picture herself with. All right, guys, this is the part that men screw up, even the ones who nail the first two steps, because this trigger here is what flips a woman's curiosity into craving you. It's what takes a woman from being interested to now hooked and sexually obsessed. And that trigger is sexual tension. Sexual tension. Now understand, sexual tension is not the same thing as attraction. Sexual tension is wanting something that you can't quite have. It's the denial, the impossibility, that friction. Picture this. You're there at the bar by yourself, and this cute, confident girl comes up to you. She's got the bright eyes, the big, bright smile, the curves in all the right places, and she just presses up against you. She just starts undulating, dancing, slow and deliberate. Her hips brushing up against your crotch area, just enough to send a jolt going through your body. And you want her so bad now. You just want to rip her clothes right off her body, but you can't because you're there at the bar. There's other people around. And that feeling right there, that ache of wanting something that's being denied to you, that right there is sexual tension. And that's the exact feeling you want to create in the woman. But here's where most guys just screw it up. They let all the sexual tension deflate out of the situation because they give her everything too fast. They hand her all the validation she could want, all the attention she could want, and the sexual tension dies. Instead, you want to leave her with that feeling of craving something, of wanting more, but not quite getting it. For example, instead of just diving into this long, sloppy, face-to-face makeout where your tongue is down her throat, which kills the tension by giving her everything she could want, all the validation she could want. No, you just kiss her for a couple of seconds, just long enough for her to start kissing you back, for her to want it, and then you pull away from the kiss first. That's right, you deny her the kiss. It's kind of like you're giving her a little hit, a little taste of the drug, and you are taking it away from her first, leaving her wanting more. And you might smirk and tell her, don't get greedy now. And boom, now the sexual tension spikes through the roof. And this is how you get out of the friend zone. This is how you become the guy that she fantasizes about. Because when you're the man that she craves that release with, but you're a little bit out of reach, that's when she starts to obsess over you. That's when she can't stop thinking about you. So let's tie it all together now. Charged excitement, that's the initial spark that grabs her attention. Flirting, that's what makes her imagine the two of you together. And sexual tension, that's the slow burning heat that lights her body up with anticipation. That's what makes her want to rip the shirt right off your body when no one's looking. And now you can see that emotional roller coaster you're creating. And here's the truth, gentlemen. No amount of money competes with this. No string of compliments you can give her competes with this. That's why most guys stay bland, predictable, and forgettable because they're not hitting these triggers like you will. And I don't care if you're twice her age. I don't care if you're not her type or you're short or out of shape or you got a weird nose. It does not matter because once you can make her feel these things, now you become the exception. Now you become the guy who can flip that switch in her brain that says, this man is different. This is the most compelling, the most sexually charged, the most irresistible man that I've ever met. And listen, if you're an older guy who wants to date beautiful younger women in their 20s and 30s, if you want to fast track this entire process, if you want that girlfriend you really want in weeks instead of years, then go right here to attractionzilla.com. I'll put a link in the description below for you as well, because my community right now has been exploding. And you can work with me directly, one-on-one, and I'll show you the exact steps you need to follow so you can end the loneliness, so you can end the frustration, and finally get with the girlfriend you've always wanted. I've worked with hundreds of men over the last 2 decades, and my guys get a 95% success rate. So no matter how old you are, no matter how rusty you feel, I can help you get the girlfriend you want. All right, so moving on, here's where the real magic happens, gentlemen. The final piece that most men never unlock. Because without this piece, everything else stalls out. And it's the 4th trigger, sexual comfort. And without sexual comfort, the woman is kind of like a sports car stuck in neutral. The engine can vroom, 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 rev up, but it doesn't go anywhere. Because sexual comfort is what lets her express her true desires to you without shame, without fear, and without judgment. It's when she feels free to open up to you about her kinks, about her wild fantasies, that crazy story from back in college, even the things she never dared tell anyone else she can tell to you. But here's where most men blow it. They start judging the woman. Oh, she hooked up on a first date. She's a slut. She's no good. Oh, she's got a high body count. Trash. She likes rough sex. That's a huge red flag. And the second you start judging her for her sexuality, the sexual comfort dies. And now, even if she does want to sleep with you, she's going to hesitate. She's going to hold back. Because most women are carrying around decades of shame from parents, from religion, from society. And when you pile on the judgment, you don't make her respect you more. Now you just push her away. But when you become the one man who makes her feel safe, safe to be raw, safe to be uninhibited, safe to unleash her animal side without fear of being labeled or shamed, that's when you unlock the real woman underneath the surface. That's when she gives herself fully to you. And here's one way to build that sexual comfort with a woman. It's what I call the question ladder. You start off with some light questions like, what's the story behind that tattoo? Or what's your idea of the perfect kiss? And then you climb the ladder higher. You ask her slightly more intrusive questions. So girl, what's your biggest turn on? Or are you more dominant or are you more submissive? And as she opens up to you, you got to reward her for it. You tell her, damn girl, I love that you're so open. Or I like a woman who knows what she wants. I like that about you. And then you might share your own stories with her. Stories that frame sexually open women as desirable, as sexy, as admired. Like your old girlfriend who was wild in bed and how unforgettable that was for you. Bottom line, guys, if you don't create sexual comfort with that girl, you might be the guy that she flirts with, but you'll never be the guy that she sleeps with. You could spark sexual tension with her, but she won't release it with you because she won't feel comfortable with you. But if she feels sexually comfortable with you, now she'll tell you things that she never tells anyone else. Now she'll explore desires with you that she's been too scared to admit to anyone else. Now she'll give herself to you completely because you're the one man who made her feel safe. Now, guys, when you pull her through all 4 of these triggers, nothing else matters. I don't care if you've got a peg leg. I don't care if you're rocking an eye patch and you got a parrot on your shoulder. I don't care if you got a booger hanging out of your nose. None of it matters because now you've tapped directly into her deeper emotional wiring. You've made her feel things that no man has ever made her feel before. And you've run the exact sequence that flips her brain and her body into a burning furnace of desire. You could be 3 decades older than her. You could be rocking the dad jeans. It will not matter. Here's the truth that most men will never understand. Women don't sleep with men because of their looks. They sleep with men because of how those men make them feel inside. So stop telling yourself you're too old or too broke or not good looking enough. Those are excuses. The only reason that she's not chasing you yet is because you haven't used these triggers. And the moment you do, that's when you become irresistible. No matter your age, no matter your looks, no matter the package you're in. Now, since you've enjoyed this video so much, go watch this one next. This is the simple hand touch that gets girls horny in 3 seconds flat. Maybe you got a female coworker you're interested in. Maybe there's a female friend you're crushing on, or a girl at school, or you want to meet a girl at a bar. You can use this hand touch to get her feeling horny for you in 3 seconds flat. Go watch it right now, gentlemen.